Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. And Kyrie Irving has a casual shoe, right? And I feel like there's been a couple of casual shoes with, signature athletes. For example, like, I believe Russell Westbrook had one. And I'm trying to remember some others, but I definitely do know that there were others, but I can't really remember them, right? But in my personal opinion, this has to be one of the best looking casual shoes by a basketball player in a long time, right? And as you guys all know, Kyrie Irving is signed with Anta after, the whole Nike Kyrie debacle, right? And of course, the Anta Kai 1 did come out, and this shoe is absolutely freaking amazing. This is my kind of like casual review of the casual sneaker by Kyrie. From Anta, of course, and this is called the Anta Kai Tribe. It retails for 130 bucks over at Kick's Own. So if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. And if you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it from the affiliate link in the description box. And there are a couple of colorways available. Of course, we do have this black colorway, right? And also, I really like how this is all like off-white, right? The outsole, the kind of like midsole here, the lining, the laces, like the tip of the laces a little bit are this off-white color. There's also a gray color and also a white and purple colorway. So again, if you do want to cop, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the tracciones. And as far as the traction pattern goes, we're using full-length herringbone, which is of course nice. And then of course here in the middle of the outsole, it says Anta Basketball, designed by Anta Greenhouse, which is pretty interesting. And also where the ball of your foot is, we have a circle, a very small circle of solid rubber, which is pretty interesting for the design. But yeah, I mean, it's using herringbone. It has pretty good grip. I mean, you don't really need good grip for a casual shoe, but you also don't really want to be sliding around all over the place. And I felt pretty good for the grip. I wasn't sliding around when I was wearing it in my apartment at first, and then when I was going outside and stuff like that in the mall where there's like the slippery floors, so the overall grip felt nice, right? And also there is a lot of surface area, and the rubber it's not the hardest. It's actually kind of soft for the rubber, but since they are very close together, I feel like it'll be pretty durable, so you should be fine for durability. And of course, moving on to the heel to toe transition, which I think is pretty important for me for a casual shoe personally, because I don't like wearing boots that much. You know what I mean? If I want a comfortable kind of like shoe, if I'm just kind of going out and I want to look good, of course I don't really care about that. But if I'm just going out casually and want to be comfortable, I don't really want a super clunky shoe like, I don't know, Timberlands or boots. You know what I mean? But yeah, these actually are not that clunky, which is pretty surprising. Right, so the overall shape of the sole is very, very flat. It reminds me a lot of skate shoes. Skate shoes need to be flat when you're skateboarding because you want to feel the board and stuff like that. But anyways, the overall design of the shoe also reminds me of a lot of skate shoes. But yeah, the shape of the sole is very flat, and it's very edged out here in the heel, right? So it is like there's no compression from the heel, but it doesn't feel super clunky to me when I'm doing, when I'm just walking, right? So that's of course nice, and also it's not super stiff either. It actually is a lot of flexibility here in the forefoot, so that feels nice as well for heel to toe transition. So overall, it's kind of smooth, right? But of course, comparing to like a basketball sneaker, running shoes, they have a lot more exaggerated of a shape. Right here in the heel, we have a little bit more curve, a little bit more rounded shape, way more compression here in the heel, which feels a lot softer. And here in the forefoot, we have a crazy curved shape, for heel to toe transition when you're running on the court. Of course, this is a casual shoe, and there's no curve, which is fine, And then moving on to the cushioning setup. Cushioning setup is not that nice, you know what I mean? It just reminds me of like Vans, Vans or Converse, but a little bit, just a tiny bit more comfortable, right? So when I first got it, I was like, yo, there's a little bit of foam. I don't know what foam they're using. The tech specs don't say anything, but there is a little bit of foam exposed here in the midfoot on both the lateral and medial sides of the shoe, right? And I felt it, I was like, oh, it feels kind of soft. So maybe the step in comfort is gonna be a little bit comfortable, but no, it's actually not, right? So first of all, the insole, they're using just like, it looks like a dual density type of insole. It looks like they're using two foams, but it's kind of comfortable. It kind of improves the step in comfort, but of course, as you guys all know, insoles bottom out, and they bottom out pretty quickly, so I don't expect too much from the step in comfort, right? It'll be kind of nice when you first get it, right? It also says Kyrie in hieroglyphics in the heel on the insole. And then of course underneath that with the strobo board, they're using a traditional strobo board. It's really heavily glued down and it's really stiff. So stepping comfort, not that nice. And like I mentioned before, it's literally just all rubber here, right? So there's no compression at all here in the heel. So yeah, the cushioning setup, just a tiny bit more comfortable than Vans, which is fine, you know, it's just a casual shoe. But just to make a nice and comfortable casual shoe, I wish they would have given us like full length and two foam, right? And given us a soft mesh strobe board so it could be a little bit more comfortable and just better than normal casual shoes like Vans and Converse. But they didn't, which is fine, but I would have liked that a lot, you know what I mean? So there is the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So the upper is actually pretty dang nice, right? The suede, they're using suede and also it looks like ballistic nylon, right? So here in the toe box, it looks like that ballistic nylon material and also on the quarter panels, right? On the lateral and medial sides of the shoe. And it feels pretty nice, you know what I mean? It reminds you a little bit of obviously the Jordan 11 material. And then around the toe box and like the rest of the upper, we have a pretty nice suede. It doesn't feel super buttery smooth, but also doesn't feel super duper cheap, right? But it doesn't feel like really good quality, you know? But overall, here in the toe box, it is pretty comfortable, right? It conforms to your foot really well. It feels durable, right? And also another thing that I really like about the design is the four kind of lines, right? And the four lines are the top half of Kyrie Irving's brand new logo with Anta. And you can see that it literally takes the same exact design from the Kai 1, right? With this mesh material on this upper for this colorway. They don't really have it in some of the other colorways with the embroidered material, but in the Kai 1 with this mesh, you can see, you know, Kyrie Irving's like logo, like the top half of it. So that's pretty cool for the design. And also on the lateral side, we have like this metal tag with, you know, hieroglyphics, and it says 11 on the end of it. And then in the back we have his logo, and on the bottom we have like a rectangle with an eyeball and a basketball for the iris, and it says Anta on the corners, right? That's pretty cool for the design. And there's not really anything on the tongue as well. The tongue has a little bit of padding, which does feel nice and cozy on top of your foot, but it's also an independent tongue. And then here in the ankle area, there's pretty much no padding, right? Just a very tiny bit of padding like on top here, right, for the collar. So the overall material does feel nice, not the best for quality, but for 130 bucks I feel like it's pretty good, right? Now moving on to the fit. So I went up half a size and this shoe fits me really nice for going up half a size, right? So definitely if you like, for me personally, I don't like a very snug fit for my casual shoes, right? I like a very snug fit for my hoop shoes. Like I want a really snug fit. I want my toes to go right to the edge of the shoe because I want really good lockdown when I'm playing basketball, right? But when I'm just casually, you know, just hanging out, just going out, I want a little bit or like way looser of a fit because I don't want my feet to be cramped up, you know? So this shoe definitely at least go up half a size. I feel like if I went true to size, it would have been way too snug here in the toe box. Also lengthwise, it would have been pretty tight. And then also width-wise, this shoe is actually pretty narrow. So here in the toe box, it's actually not that bad, but where it's really narrow for me is like the midfoot. Like around right here, it feels pretty snug and tight for me, even though I did go up half a size, right? So again, probably refrain from going true to size unless you want a snug fit or really snug fit. But for most people, like for casual use, I feel like going up half a size, you should be fine. So there is the fit there. And now moving on to the overall weight. Now this shoe is probably gonna, probably like 13 ounces, I feel like. Oh, it's actually 11.55. I don't know why, it kind of feels a little bit heavy. 11.75 ounces. Comparing to the Kai 1, the Kai 1 is actually heavier, coming in at 13.1 ounces, right? So yeah, it's actually lightweight, you know, and it does feel like pretty minimal, or actually very minimal for the upper when you're just walking around, right? And also another thing that I forgot to mention is there, you know, for the last eyelet, we have a metal eyelet and it says Kyrie Irving on it, which is pretty cool. And it's on both the lateral and medial sides of the shoe. And now moving on to the aesthetics, I really like it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I feel like it's one of the best looking casual shoes that any basketball player has released. And also another thing that I noticed is, you know how on old school shoes, they used to stitch the upper to the actual outsole? This shoe doesn't do that, obviously. It's probably using modern methods, just probably using glue, but they added it with kind of like just the rubber. It's not actually stitched on, which is pretty interesting for the design. But again, it looks like a skate shoe. It looks great to me, casually. and I also really like this colorway. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. But yeah, if you want a really dope casual shoe and you really like Kyrie Irving, this is a really nice option. This is not a super duper comfortable shoe, however, so just it's not. But again, if you want to look good and you want a dope looking casual shoe, this is a good option. But anyways, that about concludes my review of the Anta Kai Tribe. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave in the free link in the description box for this shoe and also the Kai one. But that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.